In recent years, very few people are getting into marriage contracts, and surprisingly, less men appear to be intrigued. Men no longer view marriage as significant and important and significant as they used to 30 years ago. According to Pew Research Center, the number of ladies aged 18-34 who believe that having a successful marriage is one of the best achievements in life went up by 9%, from 28% to 37% in 1997. For men, the opposite happened. The percentage of men voicing the idea went down by 6%, from 35% to 29%. Why are men no longer interested in getting married? Why is marriage no longer in the interest of men? It just so happens the issue isn't that men are juvenile or apathetic. They're responding objectively to the impetuses in the present society. Here are 10 reasons why men think marriage is not worth it anymore. 1. You'll lose respect. A few decades ago, a man wasn't viewed as completely grown up until he was married and has several kids. However, today fathers are figures of fun more than figures of respect. The guy with the blossom diaper sack at the shopping mall, or the one from the endless array of buffoonish TV dads in sitcoms and commercials. In today's culture, fathers never know best. It's not any better in the news media. By volume, 69% of mass media reporting and commentary on men was unfavorable, compared with just 12% favorable and 19% neutral or balanced. 2. You'll lose out on intercourse. Married men have more intimacy than single men on average, but much less than guys who are cohabiting with their girlfriends or partners outside of marriage. Research even suggests that married women are more likely to gain weight than women who are cohabiting without marriage. A Men's Health article mentioned one study that followed over 2,500 people for 6 years. The study found out that cohabitants said they were happier and more confident than married couples and young singles. 3. Dating apps work out just fine for most men. Thanks to technology, today men can interact with women from all over the world and find love. Depending on the app you use, men can swipe, chat, and hook up in a matter of hours. For a man who has no interest in commitment, this is the perfect tool for him to find an endless supply of intimate satisfaction. For such men who are non-committal, marriage means an unnecessary imprisonment. The only downside is that if he ever needs support through a health crisis or emotionally taxing life moment, such apps will be of little aid. 4. You'll lose friends. Those wedding bells are breaking up that old gang of mine. That is an old melody, but entirely it's valid. When married, men's ties with friends from school and work tend to fade. Although both men and women lose friends after marriage, it tends to affect men's self-esteem more, perhaps because men tend to be less social in general. 5. You'll lose space. We hear a ton about men escaping to their man caves. Why do they escape? Because they'd lost the battle for the rest of the house. The improvement of rural ways of life, intended to bring the family together, resulted in the elimination of male spaces in the main part of the house and the exile of men to attics, garages, basements, the least desirable part of the home. As a commenter to the Post observes, there was no sadder scene to a movie than in Juno when married guy Jason Bateman realized that in his entire huge house he had only a large closet to keep all the stuff he loved in. That hits like a punch in the face. 6. You could lose your children and your cash. Also, they may not actually be your children. Heaps of men are stressed because of the fact that either get married and it turns sour. The wife could take everything, including the children. Men are worried that they could end up paying child support for children who aren't even theirs, an undeniable chance in many states. In a survey of over 3,200 men that asked how they would respond to knowing a kid wasn't theirs, 32% said they would feel outrage and rage at the mother, 6% said they would feel misery, 18% said outrage and sorrow, 32% responded furious at the system that forced them to pay, and just 2% didn't care. One man remarked that his ex-gift had provoked him with the information that his 11-year-old child wasn't really his. I resented the mother. I cut off all connections to the kid. Some might consider this to be weak. I consider it to be self-protection. To those that pose the inquiry of whether the courts will make a non-biological parent pay child support, yes, they wail. They see you as nothing more than a source of cash for the child. A person in these situations should only be able to sue the real father for child support. 7. You'll lose in court. Men frequently grumble that the family court general set of laws is stacked against them by all accounts. Women gain custody most of the time. In spite of the expansions in men chasing and getting divorce settlement, advocates caution against connecting the pattern to equity in the court. Family court passes judgment will generally lean toward ladies. Family court actually gives custody predominantly to moms, child support payments predominantly to men. The family courts were established a long time back to give things to mothers that mothers required. The circumstances have changed and the courts have not. 8. You'll lose your freedom. At any rate, if you're accused of child support that you can't pay, you can be placed in prison. And in the event that you can't manage the cost of a lawyer, you don't reserve the privilege to have one appointed, because as per the High Court, it's in fact a common matter. A new report concludes that between 95% and 98.5% of all incarcerations in Massachusetts sentenced from the Massachusetts Probate and Family Courts from 2001 through 2011 have been men. Moreover, this percentage may be increasing, with an average of 94.5% from 2001 to 2008, and 96.2% from 2009 through 2011. It is likely that most of these incarcerations are for incomplete payment of child support. Further analysis suggests that women who fail to pay all of their child support are incarcerated only 1/8 as often as men with similar violations. 9. Single life is over and above anyone's expectations. While the worth of union with men has declined, the nature of single life has gotten to the next level. Single men were once looked on with doubt, ignored for promotions to significant positions, which typically promoted stable family men. It was difficult to have an adoration life that wasn't focused on marriage, and early intercourse was hazardous and disapproved of. Presently, nobody gawks at the single way of life. Dating is simple, and managers likely incline toward representatives with no clashing family obligations. Also, computer games, satellite television, and the web gives diversion that didn't used to be accessible. Is this really great for society? Most likely not, as falling rates of birth and expanding single parenthood illustrate. But people respond to incentives. If you believe that more men should wed, it should be a more appealing suggestion. 10. Technology taking women's place. Funny enough, women tell you that they will stop drinking when they get married. Who wants such women as a mother to their children? Technology seems to be playing a major role in as far as discouraging men from marriage is concerned. Gadgets such as microwaves and the availability of ready-made food has made life much easier for most single men. Every invention tries to fill a certain gap. A microwave, for instance, revolutionized cooking. A man doesn't need a woman to wake up and fix or warm him a meal late at night when he gets home from work or drinking. Besides cooking, even skills such as washing and ironing have been replaced by machines or cleaning ladies. Thus, men rarely expect to feel the presence of a wife in their lives like their fathers did. Without these privileges, some men hardly see the need for marriage. 11. Single mother's menace. The availability of physical intimacy for men and carelessness of some women has led to rampant cases of single mothers. Some of the men interviewed for this report claim that most of the women available tend to have children somewhere. It's amazing, almost all the women I know whom I thought would make great girlfriends or even wives are single mums, argues Charles, a university student. He adds that majority of women he ends up with always turn out to have children. Something he says complicates matters even further. For Fabian, a 32-year-old business executive in New York, another reason men no longer marry is that a big number of marriageable women have children. What do you think about the rising number of men who no longer view marriage as not worth it? Tell us down in the comments. Please subscribe and turn on notifications. Like and share the video. I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.